Howdy, neighbors. What is going on? What is this deep, wide field of vision? Something's changed. Something has changed dramatically. It is a very normal GoPro, which I've finally transitioned to after stubbornly using my convenient but low quality 2017 Android phone. This is serious business, and we've got some serious stuff ahead. So I am shifting over to the GoPro, and we can do close-ups, we can do wide shots, and everything is going to be so much better. Sourced a battery, so we've got a brand new battery. Today is the day where at least one cylinder head is coming off. This has been a long time in the making. I've started taking apart engine parts and cleaning them. I got I don't know if you remember from probably the very first video, the introduction, the fan was still attached to the water pump, and the water pump pulley had been removed and was just hanging loose, so I actually bolted it back on. These two were stuck through, so 1 and 2, bolted those back in just to get it secure, and then I used my fan clutch tools, which you'll be seeing probably when I attach it down the road. I actually have an upgraded water pump. It was not supposed to be for this, it was supposed to be for the red Land Rover. This is not original. It has been replaced and it feels okay. I might clean it up and put it back on, I'm not sure. Haven't decided yet. But what we're gonna do today is we are going to take out the last head bolts on this one. The previous owner, so I was kind of obviously annoyed that I couldn't do a compression test. There's all sorts of stuff taken apart when I got it, but that's way in the past. 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 head bolts have been taken out, leaving the rest in. So we've got the bottom row, I have to get my light, but I believe we have 2 on the bottom row and 3 on the top. So I'm going to get you guys set up and break those free. I'm going to take the rocker arms off. I don't have the exact configuration of, if you remember, these are from the Range Rover. So I'm going to pop off those and set them aside. They are labeled. I etched into one end which side is driver's side and passenger side, so we don't really have to worry about that. But I'll get you guys set up in a good spot and we can get some footage together. Hang tight. All right, let's try this out. So we'll see how the vantage point is. Yeah, that'll work. So these are just finger tight. I put them in just under a month ago, I guess. So I'm gonna take the rocker arms off. There are no push rods. And I've got a little spot set up on the workbench, conveniently just a little ways away. Get these out, these and these. Last one. Okay. Move these. And I am going to leave these in for now. They're not going to significantly add to the weight. These are heavy, but they're all aluminum, so it's not too bad. So what I'm going to do is first get a light so I can actually see what's going on. Confirm we've got 1, 2 head bolts on the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the top. Where is... That'll work. And I'm going to gently just crack them free. These are torque to yield bolts, and I believe they've been out before. But you still want to, you torque them in a very specific order. I'm just going to crack them free in just gently, in no particular order. There is, I believe, a correct process for this, but someone just completely removed the other ones. So there's only so much I can do to do it correctly after they did their part. So just a little bit at a time. We've got one down here. Okay. There should be one really deep. Yes. good grip on it. Swing around, orangutan arms. There we go. Sorry for the roller coaster ride. So, just a little bit at a time. Pretty soon I'll be able to just get a ratchet on these, but a little bit at a time, because they are under tension. We have a lot of, as I've said many times before, I don't know the history of this. I don't even know for a fact that these head gaskets are bad, or, one or both are bad. I just have an engine that someone tinkered with a bunch of parts missing. That's all I have to work with. So, I'm going to have to be very careful to make sure I do my homework and some thorough investigation into what's actually going on here. Okay, starting to get some... starting to give up freely here. But with this light, what's interesting here, you see, I don't know how much, how well this is going to show up. So this is sat exposed for I don't know how long, but it is interesting to see this, oil slick on all the valve springs except for this one. And I am curious if we're going to find that this valve stem, or this valve seal is bad, and that's been letting exhaust through. I'm not... Yeah, so that is the exhaust port. So exhaust, 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 exhaust. What I'm hoping is that we don't have a burnt valve or something along those lines. But we'll find out once we flip it over. Because as I've shown before, you have your intake valve here and here. So keep poking away at it. You've seen the details of it, so I may actually cut it off here. This is one of many cases where it helps to have a bunch of tools, even if they're very similar. I've got this, the ratchet wasn't doing what I wanted, so I have this short breaker bar. I've got all of these loose, so what I'm gonna do, as much as space allows, is basically use it kind of as a flexible nut driver. It's pretty handy. So this is these are 5/8 6-point bolts. I believe I'm assuming actually that the ARP head studs are going to have a 5/8 12-point. So this, I believe this is on dowel pins. There's a small chance. Yeah, this isn't going to just fall off, but I do want to, I am removing the head bolts that are holding this in at an angle. So there's a very small chance where it could just come off. So you want to be watching, anytime you're doing work like this, you want to be watching the whole area to make sure everything is doing what you want it to do. Oh, great. This is not... I'll just do this. What I'll also do is the two on the bottom here, I will remove completely, just so they're not getting hung up. Because you also don't want to be dragging bolts over the short block, or, over the engine block itself. So... the lower ones do clear it, I guess, but I'm going to make sure these are completely loose and pulled out, and they're not going to slip through. So, set this aside, and set a couple turns, I guess. Set this aside. I think this one actually has a little... Yep, this one's got a ways to come out. Because it should be kind of suctioned on. But very shortly we will see what the head gasket looks like, what the pistons look like, what the valves look like, put all that together. So, okay, totally free. Totally free. All right. What I want to do, get this out of our way. And this is actually an exhaust bolt stuck through here. Oh, you know what? Let's see how well you can see this. Oh. We have some bracketry down there. The first thing you'd want to do is make sure that you have removed all your bracketry, because that will save you from ripping and tearing stuff. Like, I wouldn't have gotten to that point, but yep, so we're gonna, I don't think you guys need to watch that, so I'm gonna pop that off and then we'll be good to go. Okay, back to where we were. So, got the bracket pulled off. That is a 1/2 inch nut for whoever is looking. The bracket pulled off and tucked down there. Now we are completely free, so I'll see if I can get you set up. A nice, convenient, visible location again. Something like that. We'll see how much of a mess I can make. Okay. And something is hanging out. There it is. All right. Let's go over here. So what are we looking at here, folks? Nothing too dramatic yet. I'll get this over here. Come back to that. Really, obviously, you know, there could be any number of things going on here, but at a glance, nothing looks spectacularly wrong. On this side, at least, of course, you have, you know, 2 sides to worry about. The other thing is, so these also really don't look very bad at all. A tiny, tiny bit on the, well, gold is what you want to see. So that seems like it might be a little bit lean, perhaps. But there's some carbon deposit. The valves look, they're not, white is definitely lean, and black is definitely, you know, rich and carbony. The cylinder, or the chamber itself has some carbon buildup. The valves are a little on the hot to clean side. This is interesting. We've got some buildup in the deposits there. Also looks like, so these are Land Rover OEM head gaskets. And I don't know how long they have been on there, but you can even see, well, L-Ring is the actual manufacturer of Land Rover branded, so these are probably had a head work done at the dealership. I don't think these are original. There's a very small chance that they are, but once again, we'll have to dig into it further. I don't see an immediate failure point here. I'm going to go one head at a time on this to tear it apart and get it cleaned up, but yeah. So one thing I am seeing, and this is reminiscent, let's see, can you guys catch it? One thing I am seeing that is reminiscent of the red Land Rover, and is kind of good news. Look at this color. Let's see. I think the light shouldn't play too much of an issue, but we've got, you know, a good amount of like gas or oil soaking here, and then we have this, and don't worry about those because those don't match. They came from the junkyard Range Rover, but I have the head gasket flipped around. I had it backwards before. It is now configured exactly how it was on the engine. And what I'm seeing here, this looks to me like an exhaust leak from the head gasket. The head gasket, you know, you kind of, I'm happy to not find a really bad smoking gun, or you know, if you find damage, you confirm that this needed to be done, but if you find damage, then you have to deal with it. I'm kind of wondering if, just like our red Land Rover, the head bolts actually backed out. I don't see evidence on the engine itself of, you know, what you'll kind of look for is a particularly clean cylinder that's gotten, you know, coolant wash on it. But I'm seeing on the inside and outside is this kind of baked on this cylinder, the same cylinder. So this is flipped around. But wait, is it? Yeah. So this is your front. This is, I don't remember the exact cylinder configuration, but we have this kind of cooked, dusty surface, the inside and outside. See, there on the intake valley, it's there as well. So hopefully that's just the bolts backing out. You see it's kind of cooked here as well. So, what does that mean? Hopefully that means that the head bolts just kind of backed out a little bit. There is that small chance that this cylinder head warped. A lot of times you will get, or you will typically get coolant into your oil from that. And I don't know if that was the case here, but what's also interesting is your coolant flows through here and here. This engine is from, yeah, it's from 1997, but this design is from 1955. What I'm a little worried about is if this was getting hot, you don't have as many points for coolant ingress to your oil as you would on a lot of other engines. They'll have passages here and here, as you can see, because these are head bolts in the middle. That's oil. That's oil. The oil runs through the rocker arm assembly. On newer engines, you would have oil and coolant in a lot more places, and your water jacket would be running through here between your cylinders. And I believe it actually is in the construction of it internally, but what we're going to have to do is, and I'll film as much as I can, but I don't want to give too high of a standard because I'm not a machine shop, but we need to get this thing get it cleaner, and then take some measurements and make sure that nothing is messed up, because you certainly run the risk of, if this discoloration comes from a gap with exhaust escaping, what worries me is that, you know, your coolest cylinders are going to be your two outer ones, your hottest are going to be in the middle, and so that lines up with, you know, one of the two in the middle being a little bit hotter. What I'm really, really, really hoping hasn't happened is that this has actually bowed in the middle, opening that gap. And I'm hoping, I'm going to take some measurements. If I can catch something, then, oh no. If I can't find any issues, this is, you know, we kind of took a gamble on the red Land Rover, and it really worked out for us, but this is a vehicle I'm selling, and I want it to be reliable. I don't want it to blow up, you know, just a couple thousand miles down the road. So these may end up going off to a machine shop to get the actual once over. But I'll see if I can catch anything myself and go from there.